Refocus Gang, and welcome back to another episode of Refocus on You. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. I hope this has been a great week for you guys. Please make sure that you are liking, sharing, and subscribing these videos. Make sure you are part of the notification gang. Make sure that you are sending this out to different people. This week is going to be a very near and dear topic. I'm going to be talking about postpartum depression. I did not think ever in a million years that postpartum depression would be a part of my life. I have always been the strong friend. I'm the go-to friend. I'm the one that everyone can count on. So when postpartum hit me, I was in strong denial. I did not want to cope. I did not want to admit it. And I didn't want to see it on myself. It made me feel weak. It made me feel like I fought so hard to have a child and I can't even handle it. I can't handle some little emotions, some hormones. It was just strange to me. So let me tell you my story. Probably my daughter was maybe about 4 weeks. And I started noticing that I would just cry. Like, I could be changing her pamper and tears would just be rolling down my eyes. I could be feeding her. I breastfed. And I would just cry while I'm feeding her. I'm sitting there rubbing my eyes like, why am I crying? What is wrong? I felt so down. I felt like I wasn't myself. Like, I just felt like I was so sad. I was depressed. I was moving in emotions. I could take care of my daughter. I was doing everything that she needed, but I was letting myself just fall by the wayside. I was being hard on myself. I was mad at myself if I couldn't do the laundry, if I couldn't wash the dishes, if I didn't feel like cooking. It was very hard on me. Like, I would feel like the world was ending. Like, what is wrong with me? Why can't you multitask? Why can't you multifunction? I would say I was so caught up in trying to learn how to be a mother that I was afraid to ask for help. I was afraid to say, I actually need a break. I actually need some rest. Could you take her for a little while? I was afraid of that. Every time she cried, I felt like I was supposed to get up because I'm her mother. I'm a new mother. I have to learn how to be her everything and still be everything. Not realizing that that's not how it works. You're not supposed to be everything. You're not supposed to be able to accomplish everything. You're not supposed to be able to wash the dishes, do the laundry, cook a full meal, and take care of a 6-week-old baby. It's impossible. I remember sitting in the room one day, and my sister was here, and my daughter's father was here. And I was trying to change my daughter's pamper. And I remember he said something to me, but I don't remember what he said. And I just bust out crying. And to him, he was like, what I do now? Why are you crying? What you crying for now? I'm guessing it did not register to him what was going on at that current moment. Because he got defensive a little bit. And I remember my sister came in and she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. I'm fine. I'm okay. I can do this. And she was like, you're not okay. And anybody that knows me know my sister is like, that's my bestie. That's my other half. That's my everything. Like, I love my sister to death. She's the one who told me I was pregnant. And she was like, you're not okay. You need to go to the doctor. You need to seek help. And she's like, you need to get it checked out because it's not okay for you to just cry at a drop of a dime. And I was like, no, I'm okay. It's just hormones and I'll be okay. And she was like, no, you're not okay. You need to seek help and you don't need to be left alone with the baby. And I know now that she meant no harm by that. But in my mind, it clicked like, well, nobody's going to take my baby. I'm definitely not going to get help because I don't want nobody to say, well, you're not capable of being alone with your child, or you're not capable of taking care of this child. And I fought so long to have this child that I was just not willing to risk that. So I didn't get help. I didn't talk to nobody. I was still going to the doctor, of course, because you have to go for your 6 weeks checkup. And then I had to go back um, to get my birth control. So they was talking to me like, are you okay? They asked the questions, are you experiencing any of these symptoms? And I would be like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Deep down inside, I was dying. Like, I was hurt. And I just couldn't deal. But I wasn't ready to admit that I could not deal. So I went along with that for a long time. And I remember going to the doctor when my daughter was about 7 months. I had then went back to work. And I remember I was talking to the doctor, and she was like, well, I'm going to send you to therapy. You need to go to therapy. She's like, it's probably just your postpartum and you need to talk to someone. And I was like, okay. So I was explaining to her that I had some symptoms in the beginning. I did talk to her about it then. But I told her I was afraid to tell. And she said, well, there's no need to be afraid. She's like, it's common. It's so common. She was like, 1 in 9 women have postpartum. It's nothing that you should be afraid of. And I was like, okay. And I explained to her that my daughter had stopped nursing. And she was like, that's what it is. She's like, your hormones are starting to kind of get back, even though when you're breastfeeding, your body is still signal to that you're pregnant. So your hormones, it takes a long time for your hormones to get back together. Having a baby alone makes your hormones jump out of whack, and it takes a while for you to get back to where where you're supposed to be. So she was like, go to counseling, and it's probably just that. So of course I didn't go to counseling at that current time. I was just like, okay. I called around, but I had just started working. I was afraid of the expenses with trying to take care of a new child, trying to get back in the ball of working and everything. So I never went to counseling, and I just sat in the depression, and I sat in feeling worthless. And my main focus was, if I just take care of this baby, all of this will disappear. And it's not. It's not going to disappear. No matter how hard you take care of that child, how well you take care of that child, how well it seems that child is blossoming, you still have to be you. And you still have to make sure that you are focusing on you. So I'm going to tell some of the symptoms of postpartum. I'm going to tell you what I did to kind of bring myself back around. I did do research because I just didn't want to give you my symptoms of feeling worthless, lack of sleep, crying, being emotional, just not feeling up to doing anything. Some of the symptoms: feeling sad, hopeless, empty, overwhelmed, you're worn out, you're moody. That was one of my symptoms too, very moody. Like I could bounce back and forth for real. Being irritable, you're angry, you feel a little rage. You sometimes you can doubt your ability to take care of your baby. Now, in my situation, I did not doubt my ability to care for this child. I wanted my child so bad that it was nothing that was gonna stop me from taking care of her and watching her blossom. So I didn't experience that symptom. Thoughts of harming the baby, harming you or the baby. If you get to that point, please make sure that you are seeking some kind of help, whether it be counseling, trying to get some type of medication, or just trying to take breaks and practice a lot of self-care. It can be physical. You can have physical aches and pains. You can have changes in your appetite. You can have difficulty focusing or concentrating. Like I said before, 1 in 9 moms suffer from postpartum depression. It's very much common in new mothers, but it does not discriminate. I don't care how much money you have, where you're at in life, how old you are, it do not discriminate. And it doesn't matter how strong. I'm a witness. It don't matter how strong you are, how full of life you are. Postpartum can hit you like a ton of bricks. And the strong sometimes fear saying, you know what, I'm weak in this moment. And that was kind of my issue. I didn't want to say I was weak. I didn't want to say that I waited 10 years and cried and died for this baby for me to have her and be depressed. I'm just going to say that we feel like we are weak when we admit that we are weak and we need help and this is more than I can bear. But you're not. You're actually strong. You're showing your strength, like you're saying, I can handle this, but I also need a little bit of help. It takes a lot of strength and courage to admit that I need some help right now. This is just not working for me, and this is what I need to help me. It takes a strong person to admit that. So don't feel like just because you had the baby that it all falls on you, because yes, you are a mother and you have to do your motherly duties, but before mommy, you're also a woman. You're also you. Whatever your name is, you are you. I am Rakima before I am mommy. And I have to make sure that Rakima is taken care of and fully devoted to in order to devote myself to Azaria. I can't be a great mother or a full-time mother and not take time for myself, because that means she's not going to get all of me, because I'm going to be frustrated and overwhelmed with what I'm trying to do for her, because I'm trying to do it all instead of admitting that I need help. And still today I struggle with this. So don't think that it's just going to click like that, because it's not. It's not. They don't know exactly what causes postpartum, but it can be causing anyone, as I said before. Some factors that they do say are family or personal history of depression. So if you have a history of depression, you're more likely to experience postpartum depression. Although I don't want you to put that in your mind, but it's a possibility. Increased life stresses. Having a newborn baby can increase a lot of stress, and that's on mothers and fathers. Fathers can also experience postpartum depression because they are trying to provide. If you have a single mother who may have had a child and she is trying to be mommy, learn how to be a mommy, and work and take care of this baby, that's added stress, which can sometimes increase your experience and make you have postpartum depression, because it's added stress on to the fact of, I'm trying to learn how to be a mama. And your hormone changes, of course. I spoke about breastfeeding makes your hormones crazy. Just having a baby, period, makes your hormones crazy. So that can cause postpartum depression. Some things that can help. If you are now pregnant, try to make a plan. In that plan, say what you're going to do, how you're going to work out having a new child. Because I'm telling you, I stayed in the hospital 5 days with my daughter. And the first night I came home, I was so afraid. I was afraid, like, she's home with me now. There's no nurse. If anything happened, I can't holler, I can't scream, I can't do none of that. And which I didn't do that in the hospital, but it's just bringing her home by myself. I was afraid. I slept with her right beside my bed, and I don't think I slept at all that night, because I was constantly watching her sleep, watching her breathe, and then babies wake up every 2 to 3 hours. So if I did doze out, okay, now it's time for feeding. I'm breastfeeding, so dad can't feed her. I have to feed her. So just make sure you make a plan. Have people that's gonna come and help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That was my biggest thing. I would jump up anytime my daughter hollered, like, I got it, I got it, I got it. There's no need for that. She knows I'm her mama. She knew I was her mama when she came out. Like, it is no need to try to put everything on yourself. It is not possible for you to do everything. Gladly accept help. If somebody want to come to the house, now I'm not going to say send your baby off nowhere, but if somebody that you trust want to come to the house and give you a couple of hours of sleep, by all means, take that help. If the child's father is there, make sure he's taking on some of that responsibility as well. Never feel like you have to do it all by yourself, regardless of whether you're working, you're at home, or none of that. A child is not one person's responsibility. And when you make it only your responsibility, one, you're putting too much on yourself, and you're training that father that he don't have to do nothing. And that's not good at all. So make sure that you are well and accepting help. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to admit that I need help. And know the signs and the symptoms beforehand. Before you have your child, make sure that you are researching. I did so much reading. But I didn't read on postpartum because I didn't think I was going to get it. I thought I was good. I was Gucci. I'm strong. I can handle this. I've been wanting this baby. I'm good. Don't think like me. Research. Find out the symptoms. Find out ways to not allow it to affect you. Like try things early. Self-care. Taking a moment from the baby. Okay, I need 2 hours to pamper myself. I just had a whole baby. Take your 2 hours. Pamper yourself. Do your hair. Take a bath. Something that you don't have to focus on the child, because you still need to be able to focus on you and your needs. Take time to journal. Take a walk. Take a run. Go exercise. Do different things that can just give you a little break. Postpartum usually begins in the first 2 weeks after childbirth and can last up to several weeks, months. My postpartum lasted 2 years. My daughter was 2, and I kind of say that because I wasn't, even though I said, yes, this may be what I'm experiencing, I wasn't fully ready to accept the fact that I was going through postpartum. I wasn't fully ready to accept the fact that I had completely lost myself, lost who I was, lost the person that I was in trying to be the best mommy. So my daughter was about 2, and I was realizing that I wasn't getting dressed. I wasn't putting myself together. I wasn't really taking care of myself like that. It was just all focused on this child. Yes, I had went back to work, and I was trying to pretend to live this normal life, but inside I was still so broken. So in January of this year, I started working on myself. I started focusing on myself. I started building myself up to the point that, like, I had to focus on me. Take time away from her. She needs to go. She go with my sister. She's old enough now. She go with my sister. She go with my mama. She go with my niece. She does different things to give me time to focus on me. So the first step I would say is I had to learn to separate myself from child. So separate mommy from Kima. Separate Azaria from Kima. Like, I had to learn how to dedicate something to myself and take myself back. And learning that, I realized that, like I said before, I could not be the best mom that I could be if I wasn't focusing on myself as well. Sometimes we feel like that's selfish, or it's all about the child now. And to a certain point or extent, that is true. But you have to make sure that you are focusing on yourself and you're getting time for yourself. Because without a healthy you, there's no healthy them. They feed off all of your vibes, all of your energy. However you feel is going to rub off on that child, because you're the next thing to them. So make sure that you are taking care of you, that you are not letting the stresses of life pull you down so far that it's affecting your children. Another thing I started doing, I started journaling. I started researching healing, and not just researching healing for the postpartum, but researching healing for all the trauma that I had experienced in life, because I realized that that's another part of being a great mom, is showing your child what to do, or trying not to pass on generational things or bitterness, brokenness, all of that. Try not to pass on those things to your child. So in order to do that, you have to heal yourself. And that's where I started realizing that you need to get dressed. You need to go out. You need to take care of yourself. Feel beautiful. Feel loved. I started working out more. I just started focusing on me more. The main thing to do is make sure that you don't lose your focus on yourself, because self is just as important as that baby. Make sure you talk to someone. If you are feeling inadequate, if you're feeling overwhelmed, do not be afraid to admit it. I believe a lot of moms are afraid to admit it and just say, I need help. And whether that be from the father, from family, whatever, you need help. Like, nobody can manage a newborn child by themselves all alone. And with no help at all, you're going to need some type of help. And your support system is a number one factor. Like, your support system has to be strong. The foundation in which the baby was born in has to be strong. The person, your partner, they have to be strong. They have to be able to visualize and see that this is not the person that I am used to. Is something wrong? What can I do to help? What can I do to help you? And not just say, you're different, you're changing on me. No. Do some research, partner. Figure out the symptoms of postpartum as well, and figure out how you can help your wife, your girlfriend, your child's mother along in the way. What can you do to lighten the load? What can you do to assist them in rekindling the fire with themselves, instead of just feeling like, I'm just mommy now? Make sure you talk to a doctor. They can give you medication. They suggest counseling and therapy, but I strongly believe in self-care is the best care from day one of having your child. Please make sure that you are practicing self-care. If it's just 2 hours out the week that you are getting to yourself, I prefer 2 to 4 to 6 hours. Like, every other day, you should get some type of time to yourself to just breathe and not be mommy. It is very important to separate from child, even if it's just the other room, just to get back to yourself. You've housed this child for 9 months. You've carried this child, and you need a break. Like, you had the first 9 months. Somebody can get 2 hours. You need a break. So that's my story. Please don't be afraid to admit you need help. Please don't be afraid you need somebody to talk to. Don't be afraid that it's you. Don't think that it cannot happen to you, and do not think that you're weak because it is happening to you. You have to make sure that you are saying, look, I need help. I'm struggling here. Do not be afraid to admit that. Practice self-care. Practice talking to someone. Practice journaling. Practice spending time by yourself. The child is going to be okay. Whether you're there 24 hours or 20 hours, the child is going to be okay. And another thing, me being there with my daughter for 6 months caused a lot of anxiety, and we had strong separation anxiety. And that's another reason why I say it's good to start practicing at the beginning, just stepping away from the child for a little while, whether it be an hour or 2 hours. Because when I went back to work, I would cry all day at work. My daughter refused to eat. She would wait till I got home to eat, because that's how much separation anxiety we have. And that was not good. So practice taking time away from the child. Practice working with yourself and doing self-care. And practice saying, I need help. Do not be afraid to admit you need help. That's the biggest thing. Self-care, I need help. Self-care, I need help. And do not be afraid to talk about your feelings. All right? I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Please share this video with expecting moms, new moms, all moms. You don't know how long postpartum lasts, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, especially in our community. So please share this with moms. If you need help, admit you need help. Go to the doctor. Do not be afraid. They're not going to take your child. Do not be afraid. They are not going to take your child, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I always say, if you dream it, you can achieve it. All right? Have a great week. Bye.